How would you like to make your first million in corporate? And today we have Robin Goad with us, and she's a powerhouse technology executive at Amazon, AWS services speaker, coach, and who's very ambitious to help women master the corporate game without losing themselves. So, with over 30 years of leadership across Fortune 100 companies like Dell and Gardner, she has closed, wow, $1 billion deals and recognition as Dell Working Mother of the Year and a reputation as a warrior in heels. Wow. And she's an author of the of Girl by Birth, Woman by Fire. Wow, I love the title. Very good. So Robin with women with her real framework and the unwritten rule book practical strategies for thriving in corporate American life. So Robin, tell us what are the 5 steps to make your first million in corporate?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Don't ever underestimate the value of relationships. And I would say that having the right relationships and then also having a narrative and a strategy for what is your unique value, whether that is to the organization itself or to a customer that you are trying to do business with, you have got to be able to communicate your unique superpower, I like to call it, if you're looking internally at an organization. And then likewise, if you're talking to a customer or a partner, what is the unique value that you're bringing to this relationship? And how do you scale either where they are today? I always like to start asking people, I read your website and I understand what you are today. I understand how you show up in the marketplace today. But who do you want to be when you grow up? And you would find that question alone, that's a CEO level question. And when I talk to people that are down in the organization, as soon as I ask that question, they say, you're speaking like our CEO, because CEOs are happy with where they are today, but they're always thinking about what do they want to be when they grow up, right? And they've got that vision. So when you can help align your superpower, your unique value, the product, services, skills, whatever you're bringing to that relationship, and you can ask that question right up front, let me tell you, it gains immediate. I cannot tell you the meetings I've been in when I have seen a change in the face of the person that you're sitting across from. When you ask, I understand what you are today, but what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to help you do that. I don't want to help you with what you've already accomplished. That is the playbook for getting immediate credibility and elevating your position in the conversation, because guess what? That guy or gal that you're talking to, they're going to immediately start thinking about you. How do I get this person in front of my CEO where the real decisions are made? So that's what I would tell you. Those are the things that pop, right at the top of my head.
So then in corporate, it's a male-dominated environment. So how women can thrive in corporate America? Let me tell you a story. I train people all over the world, and one speaker came to my event. I was training how to speak, and she wanted to do her own workshops and write her own book because she was in corporate in United Kingdom. She's a Harvard graduated, but they just hired her to put her in the C-suite because they want to have a woman because it looks nice, but not because they're gonna take it seriously. And she was telling me, I said, Harry, I'm a Harvard graduate. How much I need to do in order for them to listen to me or to take me seriously. And I know that I have a great CV, but honestly, they're not taking into consideration anything that I'm doing. The corporate, they pay me a lot of money, and they just hire me because it looks nice to having a woman in the C-suite. So, Robin, how you overcome that challenge?
Yeah, I'll tell you,
I'm talking United Kingdom. I gather that in US, which we should have the same challenge, right?
100%. I'm just so glad that you said it, quite frankly, because it's still very much true. And, you know, it's sad because honestly, if you would have asked me 8 years ago if I thought there was still a good old boys club and that we had to have a token female, 8 years ago, I would have told you no, that we have crushed that. But I have seen it more in the last 5 years than I did 10 and 15 years ago. Now, it could be
Oh, wow.
that
Wow.
but why. Here's why. I think I figured out why. Because I'm now in a new rank. So 10 years ago, I was at the senior manager level, right? Now I'm at the director, vice president level, and the number of roles for, you know, the number of seats for women is smaller. And I have seen the good old boy club more at this level than I did the last 10 years in the lower levels. So I think it's, you know, the higher you get, the fewer females there are. And, but here's what I would tell if I were coaching that woman that you were speaking to, you know, speaking about, actually your qualifications and your performance have nothing to do with your perceived value in the organization. It all comes down to your political. It comes down to your narrative. What is your narrative? And it has to be 2 minutes. Like you have to be able to communicate. The higher up you get, the shorter the attention span. And so you have to be able to communicate. First of all, you have to recognize the political landscape in which you're operating. So one of the things I tell people is power map. Do not confuse the org chart with a power map because not all people on that org chart are actually rated equal. So you will start to determine who actually has the power. If you take a look at then you align your mission, your narrative, your value, you align it to those power players and you make sure that 6 of the 10 leaders in the organization that are reporting to the C-suite, you make sure that a handful of those people know your narrative. I like Sally. She's an amazing leader. She delivered X results, right? You give them your impact statements. And then you'll start to hear, it's so funny. We did this at Dell 20 years ago. A group of us ladies, we created narrative cards and we played the game. And at my performance review at the end of the year, my manager, all 10 of us women got promoted, by the way, in 1 year. All of us that did this little game,
wow,
all got promoted. And when I sat down and had my performance review at the end of the year, my boss read back to me the narrative that I had fed the system. That is what women, we it's about our degree. We think it's about our resume. We think it's about performance. We think it's about our qualification. It's not about that. It is about the political. You have got to be a political animal. You've got to identify the power players, and they have to be able to communicate your message, not you.
How about culture? I tell you, my first business, 18 years ago, my sales team, they were women, right? And they will have some males. But what I realized when the women, right, having in the sales team and the operations also, basically in the end, all the company were women. Something that was very helpful for me was that women, when there is a problem, they will tell you in the face, okay? If you said to a woman, I'm going to go out and you don't like, she will tell you, look, I'm not going to go out with you. I don't like you. Why? I don't like you. That's why I'm going to go out with you. That's it. Stupid, right? Where the boys, we are more Okay, yeah, let's work it out. So this is the way we are. John Gray, the author of Men's Up for Women.
Yes.
I
Yes.
know him personally. He has sold 50 million books, and he told me, Harry, we are different. So we are
Yeah.
different way that we operate. So I sold books on the topic, and I can tell you that we are different. We operate different. That doesn't mean that one is smarter than the other one. That doesn't mean that one is more efficient than the other one. It's just we operate different, right? So for me, it was very helpful the way that the girls operate versus the boys, because they were telling me straight away, Harry, there is a problem here. And I knew when the guests come one time, Harry, fix this. Second time, by the third time, I already knew that there was a problem that needs to be addressed, right? Do you think that boys don't like women to tell them what to do? For me, I make a lot of money out of this concept because I didn't care. I want to grow my company.
Yeah.
So I was actually happy. It went even further. Even my manager one day arrived to the office and told me, Harry, go home, travel the world if you want, don't come out to the office. You need to come here. We're taking care of everything. And she told me, in fact, you come here only to talk to us. And she told me, the only problem in this company is you. I said, me? She said, yeah, stay. I'll give you a report. I will tell you one problem or whatever. And that's it. It was amazing how the girls embraced the leadership and grew the company. That was spectacular. I was so happy. I was telling everyone, you're not gonna believe what happened in my company. It's
Yeah. I
amazing.
mean, the
They're
data
running the
shows.
thing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I interviewed a while ago the Minister of Finance of Zimbabwe, and he told me, Harry, we have a program that we lend money to the small business, to the agriculture, so the people, the entrepreneurs, they grow tomatoes, they grow things, they sell those vegetables, they pay back the loans, and then we get them more loans. And however, he said that the large percentage of women, they were paying back the loans and being very responsible with the capital, and they were not that happy with the men, right? He said that the men that far outperforms the men. So he told me, as government, we are very happy to lend to women. We're doing very good with the women. With the men, it's not working so well. The loan hasn't been paid. We have failure and this and that. So two questions. If women can be as competitive as men, and in terms of the funding, well, you are in tech also. So women in tech, they get less funding than anybody else. So how do you think that we should address the problem? What is really the problem, and how can we solve it?
One is just sheer, we don't have enough women in tech. So the numbers in technology are always going to look low for
Yeah, but that
women.
doesn't mean that we're not going to
Just
give them funding for any
that's
for.
that's what the data shows. And maybe by the time this podcast airs, we can find the link to this report because I can't remember. There's a Harvard Business Review that talks about women actually being better investments. And so maybe we can put the link to the report, but everything you're saying
I
is
done
true.
it. I done it.
Yeah. But women aren't in tech is just because there aren't as many women in STEM, science and technology. There just aren't as many women as there are men. But those the
Why? If there is less women, it's because there is
it's
less
because it's a
opportunity.
science
There
and
is
math. It's because it's a science and math field. And
women
so
they are good in
yeah,
science.
but just not, they're not are. Until recently, we didn't change that narrative, right? That narrative is new. The narrative that women are as smart at math and science as men is a new narrative. And so it's going to take a generation to get that thinking up. The problem with women, everything you said is 100% accurate. I couldn't agree with it more. The problem is when you take a woman that is forthright, wants to solve a problem, wants to be successful, hit something head on, right? That's how those of us that choose to work, in corporate and business world, that's how we operate. But the system in which we're operating doesn't appreciate or value or like that. And
I mean,
so
but yeah, but I
it's the
think
system that was
Mhm.
written by somebody else. It was an environment that was written by somebody else. It was a culture that was established. And that is suicide. If you now we'll also say if you get to the top of a company, they want the truth. The are in the company, those individuals actually want to know the truth. It is the middle layers that are so busy keeping their job that they're not doing their job. They're the ones that don't want you to be a troublemaker. They're the ones that don't want to know the truth, but they don't want you telling the truth to the higher ups because it will show weakness in their leadership and their organization. So I will say it does depend on how high up in the company you're talking to. When I have taken a problem to the highest levels in an organization, they actually really value the truth. They actually really want to know what's going on. It's those two layers below them that you can never actually go to with the truth. And we call it the frozen middle. It's the frozen middle, and they don't want to be exposed. And so you cannot go to that level and show them problems and tell them what's really going on because they're the ones that get threatened by the truth, quite frankly. And this is part of the game. This is part of the game. And you have to know, not all wars are worth fighting. And so you have to figure out, and this is where women have got to get better at developing strategies. And we think, as a woman, I can tell you firsthand, I thought I go get a job, I exceed expectations, I deliver results, I bring value to the company, and I get promoted. And then I do the same thing in that next job, and then I get promoted. And then no, that is not how it works. It is not about our performance. It is about the political system that you're operating in and how you can get your alignment to those other women are not, we've never been told this. We have never been told this. I never knew that this was actually a game. I thought this was like real life and we were really doing this. No, it's a game. This, just like all games,
there are rules you need to know how to
the
play
game, right?
Yeah.
You would never go play chess and not know the rules of chess. So why on God's green earth are we going and playing the corporate game and we don't stop to think, what are the rules here?
So then, Robin, I find you very sharp. And I'm under the impression that when you were younger, you were like Eva, my managers, right? And that's what was attractive to me as an entrepreneur, right? I wanted to find the problem quickly, solve it quickly, don't fluff, deliver results, and get paid a lot of money. I didn't mind to pay the guests a lot of money. They paid a lot. They were making a lot of money, and they were making the company grow. That was the structure, and I was the happiest of all because they were better than me. They were better than me at everything, at sales and everything. And I remember she used to come once a month to tell me what she was with my company. I said, look, Harry, we're going to grow this is this. We had this issue. We're going to solve it like this. Blah, blah. She was giving me a report. I was like, wow, you're going to solve it like this. You're going to grow like, oh, wow, you're going to do this. Wow. That's the only I remember.
It's amazing.
Saying, wow. And the culture, the company, I remember my biggest nightmare, Robin, it was that they went out for a drink without taking me. I couldn't sleep thinking of that. And I knew at the beginning, when you are an entrepreneur, you are living for an asshole, you don't make any money. And then I started I'm the big deal here. Everybody had to do what I say and whatever. And I run the company like 2 years like that. But I noticed that they started to go out for the drink without me. And I noticed that it was this attachment. This doesn't work. So it's not about me. Actually, it's about them. So let's change that. Yeah.
100%.
Because I want to go for a drink with them. I'm with them. I'm not doing this for me, or we're doing it for everybody. I want everybody to be happy together. So I developed the leadership in the organization. I remember the first thing that I did is I told them, look, from now on, if you have a problem, bring 3 solutions, okay? Mm-hmm. You pick your favorite. We try it. If it works. If it doesn't matter. It's okay. We try the other one. So that dynamic, somehow they love it. They
Of
give them
course.
more flexibility, more. I always was result
Autonomy.
oriented. Yeah,
Autonomy to go to the
yeah,
problem.
and
Yeah.
result orientated. Yeah, for me, I didn't care. Some of them like working at home. Some of them told me I want to work from home. I said I don't care. This I need this.
Results.
Can
Deliver
you
the
do it?
results. That's all I
I
care
don't
about.
care if you go to the office, you don't go to the office. Well, at the end of the office, because I didn't want to go to the office. Nobody wants to go to the office. I'm saying, yes, you don't want to go there. I don't want to go. I hate to go there also. So why I'm paying for this in nobody
Real
with it. Ever
estate.
do it from
Exactly.
work. Yeah, reality. Do it from home, and then I don't need to go and I don't need to pay for all this, right? So they bought a printer in the house, and I said, look, everybody's staying, and you sign the contract in the cafe. That's we gave you better results. Do it. And so finally we end up even with office. I'm telling you, 16 years ago,
That's
18
amazing.
years ago, it was no COVID, nothing. And so when COVID came to to organization, everyone was looking like this and like we do everything remote anyway from so many years. So for
Yeah.
us, didn't
Yeah.
it was flawless. But Robin, back to the question. How about attracting talent to organization, right? So if you were waiting for me, no way that I will let you go. And you're a mom, you need to have your family. You guys don't stop working in corporate. You arrive home. Also, you're responsible for everything, for the funding, for make sure that all the things are there, the money, that the house function, which is also a lot of work. So, what do you think that in corporate America, you have to go in order to keep the talent? Because I'm doing this myself, and for me to keep
Yeah.
the talent in my organization, like I said, I'm as much flexible. It's not like before. Oh, I need you corporate 9 to 5 here, Monday to Friday. If you want to
Correct.
attract, keep the talent organization, you need to give a little bit up. So, what is your view on this, especially for women?
Yeah, I think that it impacts women more than men, right? Because women, I don't care how equal we are, we carry the responsibility, the emotional responsibility, parents of children, of health, right? Just the home, the family. That's just the reality, right? That is the reality. We are different. Women, we are different. And so I think it's extra important for women. And I was just telling someone the other day, I said, if there were a company out there that would say, I'm going to hire all the best salespeople and you can work from home, you never have to come to the office. And as long as you deliver XYZ, I will leave you alone. They would have more women beating down their door to work for them, and they would be wildly successful. Because somewhere in corporate America, so I've worked
I
from
agree.
home. I started working from home in 2011, 2010.
Wow. Wow.
Because I was in the field, right? I was in the field. And so I was basically on an airplane. I mean, I worked from home, but I really worked from an airplane, right? And a hotel and going to see my customers around the world. And so I've worked like you were talking about, right? Even pre-COVID and all that. And I am the happiest when I am able to manage my life because I could work during the day, I could go be mom at night. And then if I had to jump back on a phone call with India or Singapore at 10 p.m., I was fine with that because I got to go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, pick up my kids, take them to do the things. And so I was able to be present, but I still, and here I am working at 10, 11 o'clock at night, talking to India and Singapore. And I was happy because I was able to do my job effectively and take care of my family effectively. For some reason in corporate America, we have gotten our mind that in order to keep the culture of the organization, we have to be in the office. And I could not disagree more with that. Now, there are some things that are wonderful at certain times. So I would never want to kick off a year where I'm sitting around doing my strategic account planning, doing my goal setting, doing my visioning, right? There are certain things that require intense collaboration where we get everybody aligned, where we set the vision, where we outline what we're going to do for the year, and maybe we start with the quarter. And I like that collaboration and I like doing that in person. But here's the problem. Corporate doesn't trust me, right? So if my company that I worked for trust me, then they would let me go off and do what I said I'm going to do, perform the results, deliver the results. The problem is we've lost trust with one another. I don't trust my company, and my company doesn't trust me. That is what is fundamentally broken today in corporate, is that trust that people used to have for the company they worked for is gone. And when I don't trust the company doesn't trust me. So what do? They say, you must come into the office. You must badge in 5 times a week. You must, right? So when that trust is broken, that's the problem, Harry. That is the real fundamental problem that we've got going on, is that, think about my dad, my grandparents, they trusted the companies that they worked for. I don't trust any company I work for. And they don't trust me because they expect me to come to the office, and they think clicking into the office, that's proving I'm working. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I'd love to start a company that had 100% remote, and you come
Welcome to my life.
You come together 4 times a year. You set the vision, you set the strategy, you do your key initiatives, and then you trust people to go deliver. If they don't deliver, then you have to manage. That's another problem. We've lost the management. So people aren't used to being managed. They're not used to, like, I'm a very clear manager. My team that work for me, they say, oh God, Robin, we love working for you. Clear expectations. So I say, here's what I expect. Here's what I better see from you. And if I don't, I'm going to manage you. And so some people like it, some people don't. But if they don't like it, then they don't belong on my team. So that's just the way it is.
My IT director has been working with me for 14 years. I never met him in person. And he knows me better than I know myself. When I Matthew, I need this software, I need this, I need that. When he comes back, he something better than
that's outstanding.
That's how many years we have been working together and looking after each other. I have female employees working with me remotely from 12 years. That when she started to work with me, she didn't have any children. Now she had 3 children. So imagine how much things we need to out in that dynamic, right? Because at the beginning she was very young and coming 8 hours and very focused and everything. Now the children comes. Now then then she said, well, I cannot work with that. I said, well, so how are you gonna work? What we need to do? Yeah, I remember at some point she had the kids and they're. And we didn't know. I said, look, why you're not showing up, or we need you more around. It's something, okay. He said, well, Harry, the kids are crying a lot, or, it's difficult to, and I said, okay, well, what we be? Solution. He said, well, if a TV and they can play games while I'm working, that would be amazing. And I'm telling you, say the TV. Do you need 2?
Amazing.
1 per kid? Tell me, what is it?
Do you need an iPad? I'll send you an iPad. I'll send you a computer.
A TV. You're not showing up because of the TV. So tell me what size. Tomorrow you have that. So sometimes you have to, because they are, we have this relationship, but we go deep. How are you? Everything is fine. How was your head? For example, like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's something I was going to say.
The kid was sick, and I said, okay, you know what? Drop it. Let's stop your activities. Go to the hospital. Don't worry about it. We will be fine. The company will be here when you buy. And
that's something else I will say. As a leader,
okay, go ahead.
Thought that the way that I lead is how I want to be led. Right. That is fundamentally human beings' work. Is we want to be treated the way that we like to be treated. And so I always exactly what you're talking about. I genuinely, I talk about this in my book, and you have to actually care about people to be in business, whether that is your customer or your team and or your team, depending on what role you have, but I genuinely care about my customers and I genuinely care about my team. And I want my team and the psychology, I do it because I'm a good person. But if you're a good person and you just want to have success in business, then you need to care about your people because they are human. And we have forgotten these are human beings and they're I talk about this in my book that yes, I actually give a shit. I actually give a shit about my employees and my customers. And guess what? They know it because you can't fake it. You cannot fake authenticity. And people can sit if you're not authentic. And I know that sometimes authenticity is a word that gets thrown around a lot, like be authentic and show up as you're authentic. And sometimes that touchy-feely crap, I'm like, ugh, I hate it. But I don't understand leaders that don't really feel that way. I don't understand how you can be a leader and not care about your people and about your customer. I genuinely care. I tell my customers for 30 years, I've said, look, if I'm never selling you something to sell you something, you tell me what problems you've got. I will try to see if there's something I have that I can help you solve your problems. And if I can't, I will see you next time. I will see you next time. Because I want to always have a relationship where I see you in an airport and you want to run up and give me a hug and I want to run up and give you a hug. I'm never a salesperson that is trying to jam something down your throat. Same thing with my people. I genuinely care about the people on my team because I need them to genuinely care about me. Because guess what? When it comes to delivering results, are they going to work harder for somebody they care about? Or are they going to work harder for somebody they don't care about?
Tell me about it.
Right? It's that business value versus personal value. And you have got to be able to figure out what is the business value and what is the personal value. And personal value, business value all day long.
I always tell with my team, I had to with them and they say, I'm telling the guys, why you still around? You see, you go out there, you said that you work for me, they can't even pay you more money. What you stay around? And they always said, Harry, we are happy with the money that we're getting and we like to work with you. So that's why we stay around.
It's so true. And I've had people, think about how I do. If I've worked for a leader that I care about, that I am emotionally invested in, I am going to kill myself because it's who I am. I hired the people, right? First of all, you got to hire the right people. So if you don't hire the right people, then you're going to have a problem. But if I hire the best and I develop the best, then they are going to want to perform for me. And look, when I have worked for leaders that don't care about me, guess what? I don't care. I don't them either. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. I tell this to everybody on my team. Corporate and me, we have a deal. It is a mutually beneficial relationship. And when that mutual beneficial relationship gets lopsided, it's up to me to fix it. Because it never should be one is getting all the benefit and one's the one giving all the time, whether that's a personal relationship or a business relationship. These relationships are intended to be mutually beneficial. And so I wish, and I will say, when I was young, I thought being a leader was all about me. I the glory. I wanted to be in power. I wanted all the praise, right? I did. I'm just being honest.
Me too.
Right? I wanted it all.
We all been there.
And I learned some point in time, I don't know, when, but I learned at some point in time, actually being a leader is nothing about me.
They get that to go out and they don't invite you. This is when you realize that, oh, wow, this is what's
nothing
going
about
on
me.
here.
It's only about others.
And what I'm really doing. leadership means to serve, right?
Exactly.
Now,
100%.
now who's gonna tell you that? Well, you go to the organization and you're thinking like, oh, you have to perform, and then you're gonna be
Right.
fine, and then you're gonna have results, without knowing that if you don't develop leadership within yourself and leadership within your team, and you sign up for being a leader. You sign up for a specific job role to outperform and to get promoted. Nobody told you anything about leadership. Nobody told you have to become a leader. Nobody, even us with the entrepreneurs, the same thing, right? But I didn't sign for this. I signed up to have a product, sell it, and make some money. This is what
Right.
I'm doing.
Right.
And then the team is going for a drink and leave me out. And I'm like, oh, there is something else that I need to learn about this. And
Yeah.
apparently it's leadership. And apparently, no, that I'm a leader is that they have to be leaders themselves. And but you have to become a leader. A lot of network marketing companies talk to me to train them and say, Harry, I need more leaders in the organization. I need more leaders in the organization. What can I do to get more leaders into the organization? We're telling them, look, you have to become a leader yourself.
So
Leaders,
true. It's
leaders
so
attract
true.
leaders.
There's one of my
To do.
favorite. There's a
have any
movie.
money.
Have you Remember the Titans?
Well, no, but I'll
Okay,
look up.
go look it up. There's a movie called Remember the Titans, and it's a great football movie. And one of the famous lines in that movie is, attitude reflects leadership, sir. And so if you have an issue with your team, their attitude is reflecting leadership.
It's you.
And I love
Look at
that
yourself.
line. Attitude reflects, because he's getting in trouble, right? Somebody's getting on to him, and he says, attitude reflects leadership, sir. And it's one of my favorite movie lines because it is so true.
I'm glad that, Robin, that you're talking about the subject and we're speaking about, because I learned out of my accident, right? Trial and error. I didn't want to be left. Some people are okay and they want to be left out as soon as they're the big deal and the big boss and everything, but it's created a very toxic culture. And then you attract people to your organization when you have that culture, people that align with that culture, and the productivity is amazing. Like I told you, to the point that they send me home.
Yeah.
They send me
well,
home.
Good for you. Good for you, Harry.
Yes.
That you
I feel a little bit weird, but the second day I'm thinking,
Good
I don't
for
even
you.
understand how I pulled this off. And I'm thinking,
Good for
I
you.
didn't pull off anything. They're doing it. So what I did, it took a lot of time to realize what happened, because I didn't understand even myself. I said, look, did I pull this off? They do it. So how they do it? And then I started to look backward, and I said, because I did this and they this without knowing, I'll give them the space for them to be leaders in the organization and to perform.
Yeah.
And,
I had an organization in India. I was a team, and I would go every 12 weeks to India and have a meeting with my team, and we were we weren't objective. And I was getting frustrated because every time I went, I was told everything's on track. Yeah, we're doing good, blah, blah, blah. And every time I would, dive deep and figure out what's going on, we weren't closer to our objective. And finally, I took someone aside that's in leadership that reported directly to me. And I said, what is going on? What is wrong? Something is wrong. And they said, Robin, you don't understand our culture. And in our culture, we are not allowed to say when we have a problem. And so I said, okay, well, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? I will take ownership of all the problems.
Because I need to know.
Yeah. I said, I will take ownership of 100% of the problems. Tell me what they are, because I will own every problem. Tell me. And I shifted the dynamic that I was willing to say, all the problems that we have are my fault. 100% of the problems that we are dealing with are my fault. So now tell me how I can help fix them. Because the fact that we have these problems, it's on me. It's on me. As soon as I changed that narrative, Harry, the floodgates opened. But I didn't, in the culture, I didn't understand.
Yeah, it happened to me also. Especially international teams. Yeah.
And when you have an international team, you have to know And so anyway, and it took us a while, but we finally, once I accepted responsibility for all problems, and then I gave them the opportunity to be the problem solvers, right? It ended up beautiful, and it was a great working relationship, and I'm still in great, contact with several of those people today. But yeah,
Robin, two
that was
things.
yeah.
What is your last message for women in corporate? Okay. And also, most people can find your books, how they can find you in the social media, if you have a website.
Yeah.
Can you share? Let's do it the other way around. Share everywhere where they can find you, where they can buy your books and so
Okay.
on. Like I said,
Okay.
I find you really sharp. The people that you're working with, they should be. I'm sure that they're throwing a red carpet to you every time that you show up to work. That's what I will do. You were working for me. You're so sharp that I will throw a red carpet to you to work. Oh,
Uh,
Robin's coming. She's put the red carpet.
could you say
So
that louder for my boss
yeah,
in the back?
no, they know. I can tell you, they know. They
Yeah,
know.
so let me
Sure.
first start with
Yeah.
my website. So my website is therealrobingoad.com. And on LinkedIn, I'm just Robin Goad. You'll find me. And my Instagram is the real Robin Goad, and also 50 favored and figuring it out. But the best place is definitely my website. You can buy my book on my website. You can, I actually offer I give free 30-minute coaching. If somebody, this is where I like to start, Harry. I did not learn my real superpower until I was in my 40s. And oftentimes, when you operate a certain way, you just think everybody operates the same way that you do. You think that everybody processes information the same way that you do because it's just who you are, right? It's natural gift. And I just never real superpower. And if you don't know your superpower, it's very hard to show up with confidence. It's very hard to really know your value if you do not really know your superpower. So on my website, there's a link where people can book a 30-minute session where I will help them try to figure out what their superpower is. And it's free. Because I didn't know my superpower until I was in my 40s. And I'll tell you how I found my superpower is my chief operating officer. He said he was just flippant. He wasn't even this to be a big, meaningful, powerful moment in my life, but it was. It really was. He was my chief operating officer, and he said, Robin, you have got an uncanny ability to sit in front of someone and your curiosity for what is going on in their business, what's going on in their life, he said, you are curious about how you can help them. And he said, and within minutes, I can see how you start processing how you're going to help them solve that problem. And then not only do you start putting these puzzle pieces together, and I start putting an ecosystem together in my mind of how I'm going to solve this problem. He said, then you go from strategy to execution. And he said, most people that are really good at strategy are not good at execution. And people that are good at execution are oftentimes not good at strategy. And he said, you have both. And that is a very rare skill set. Now, he was just talking to me, we were just having a cup of coffee, having this conversation, but it fundamentally changed my life because I, for the first time, went, well, yeah, doesn't everybody, sit down, ask questions, figure something out, start putting together all the puzzle pieces, and then go and execute? He's like, no, nobody does that. You are really good at this. So I'm really passionate about helping women sooner rather than later find that superpower because, oh my God, what if I would have known that that's who I was at 25 or 30 versus 45, right? It would have made a major difference.
What's the URL of the website? Because some people might be listening in the car or in the gym. So
Yeah,
what's the URL?
therealrobingoad.com.
Very good. And the last message for women?
The last message for women is find your superpower.
Very good.
Find your superpower.
And with that note, Robin, thank you so much for the broadcast. I really appreciate it. I think you're brilliant. Like I said, yeah, your bosses, they should be
Thank
a red carpet for you. Yeah, I'm sure they know about it. And thank you so much for sharing something really powerful and to unlock something. To be honest, I never worked in corporate in my life, right? I think the only work in corporate that I have, it was a room service in the Hilton in Canary Wharf in London. For that's the only corporate that I have worked for 18 years ago. So I didn't know that it's a lot of similarities from actually
It
to
is.
be an entrepreneur from corporate, because at the end of the thing, it's all about leadership. And I didn't.
And you
I didn't
own
see
your
this
career.
coming on
I'm
your
the
career.
owner of my career. I'm the CEO
Absolutely.
of my career, right?
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
might not be the CEO of my own company, but I am the
Mhm.
CEO of my career, and I've
And your
always
team.
treated
And
it
your
that
team.
way. And my
And your
team.
team.
That's right.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's very impressive. So once again, thank you so much. And for all
Thank
of
you.
you following the podcast on Unstoppable, see you in our next episode. Our brave women like Robin break the wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.